Honestly, my villagers are always trying to guilt trip me for not spending time on the island. Hey Bob's gang, wandering around aimlessly like I usually do, it got me thinking there's a lot of things that we never ever get to see in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Although this game is basically our own canvas and we can do whatever we want with this world, Nintendo has put some things off limits. They've said no, keep away. Let me give you an example. Here on Harvey's Island, we have all of these really great shops. These are amazing, I love this and I was so happy when they did this update. But have you ever considered that we literally never ever get to see the insides of any of these campers? In Animal Crossing, we're really used to going inside of the buildings, the museum, Nook's Cranny, the Able Sisters, but these ones are completely off limits. Back in Animal Crossing City Folk, where you had a whole bunch of random shops, you could go inside pretty much all of them. But here in New Horizons, we don't get to see what the inside of these campers look like. I'm willing to bet we wouldn't get to see inside of Red's anyways, it's technically a crime scene. I think it would have been really cool to see what each of these characters actually live like. I mean, is it their own residential home in here? Or is it just more of their shop? Is this where they keep their inventory? I really need to know. This makes me even sadder when you consider that back in Animal Crossing New Leaf, you could go inside of the RVs in Harvey's little campsite. So I kinda wish Nintendo would have let us do this here. Maybe at nighttime when everyone closes up, you could go inside and see what they actually live like. This would have definitely given the characters more personality, which is something I feel like a lot of us can agree New Horizons needed more of. Speaking of Harvey's Island, another thing that you'll never see is actually a villager on Harv's. Now, I'm not talking about the inside of the building. You can invite villagers here with their amiibo and such and set up all kinds of scenes. We're talking about the shopping area. Now, realistically, villagers would have good cause to shop here, just like they do in the shops on our own islands, but we never get to see them on Harv's for some reason. I guess we're just that exclusive that we get to shop in one place that no one else does. I honestly don't know how these shops are staying in business though, because I haven't bought anything here in like 6 months now. Speaking of villages and places, you also don't ever get to see villagers inside of the airport. I also believe it's pretty rare for you to see special characters in here. Maybe you see Tom Nook and Lottie in here at the start of Happy in Paradise. I don't know, my memory's kind of foggy. But as far as I can remember, you never see a villager inside of the airport. I guess they don't travel, which is really sad. They don't have any horizons to look forward to, no pun intended. I think it could have been really cute if maybe a villager was here with all their suitcases on the day they were moving out or something. That would have been absolutely adorable, but you know, actually maybe that would have broken our hearts a bit too much, so maybe they shouldn't have done that. You have also never seen the inside of this airport control tower. Now, I believe some people in the past have actually used glitches and tools and such to get themselves in these off-limits areas, but they're basically just undefined messes. There's nothing really going on there. But in the world of Animal Crossing, of course, this area would play an important part. There's lots of airplanes coming in and out, you know, when you're going to different places or inviting friends over, yet we never get to see this important place. I do get why, but maybe it would have been cool to have a place where we actually get to see Wilbur hang out. After all, we only get to see him when we go on a trip. We're stuck with Orville most of the time. On a little side note, I'm still kind of mad that my airport is stuck as yellow, honestly. I really wish it wasn't. So, talking about the airport control tower that we don't get to see the inside of, it's made me think about all the other areas that are off limits. There's actually a lot of places that our eyes never get to see in Animal Crossing New Horizons. One of these is the back room in Resident Services. Who knows what goes on in here? I have literally no idea, but clearly some important work must happen given that we're not allowed inside. This could of course just be a living quarter for Tom Nook and Isabelle, but it's kinda hard to imagine them living in this building, unlike some of the others that we have on the island. I don't know though, knowing Isabelle, she probably would sleep where she works. I mean, she literally is in this clip that I'm recording right now, so I guess that's proof that maybe she does live in the Resident Services building. Timmy and Tommy also have their own back room in Nook's Cranny, and they have a little ladder. Now, for a long time, people thought that this was a hint towards the next Nook's Cranny upgrade, an unfinished area that would lead upstairs to the second floor renovation, but nope, it basically just is Timmy and Tommy's living quarters. I think this would have made the perfect second floor for Nook's Cranny, but sadly that is an upgrade that we never got. So you never have and basically never will see the upstairs of Nook's Cranny. Especially because, you know, Nintendo never really actually modeled anything up there. Just like in Nook's Cranny though, the Able sisters have their own mysterious door which leads to another room. Once again, fairly safe to assume that this is their living quarters, a space that sadly we'll never get to peek our eyes into. Given how hard the Able sisters work, especially Sable, it would have been nice to see them actually relax somewhere. I'm really hoping in the next Animal Crossing game that we'll get a little insight into the personal lives of these characters. We do get so much lore for the Able sisters, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, but I feel like there's always more to be learned. After all, when Nintendo gives you some really good tidbits about these characters, you definitely want to know more. One that is much more recent than the others I listed is actually Brewster's stockroom, and finally we do actually get to see inside of this. It has been at least partially modeled. Brewster's stockroom is of course full of all the supplies that he would need for coffee and such, but also it is full of gyroids, which he absolutely loves. So technically, is this something that you do get to see in Animal Crossing New Horizons? Well, yes, but still, we don't get a proper look inside this room and we can't actually enter it for ourselves, sadly. I think a lot of people are hoping that maybe we could work in the roost and then we'd be able to go in here maybe to get some resources and such. That would have been great, and I don't know why Nintendo missed up on that opportunity. Still, at least our eyes get to feast on more of this back room than the other ones on this list. Okay, I'm done with the back rooms, but the roost has reminded me of something. You will never get to see Don Resetti and Resetti on your island outside of the roost. Technically, these characters have been in the game since the very start. You've been able to call them up with the helicopter service. This is where they work, but we don't ever get to see where they work. Thankfully, they do pop into the roost sometimes for a visit, and of course you could amiibo them into Happy Home Paradise, but you won't ever get to see them on your island despite them having been there since the start. To be honest, I've been avoiding Resetti after all the trauma he gave me as a child, so I'm not complaining too much about this one. Honestly, there are a lot of other things that we never get to see in Animal Crossing New Horizons. So what are some things that you can think of that sadly we never get to see but you wish we could? What would improve the game? If you made it to the end of this video, then be sure to comment Bob's Gang down below so I know that you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. I want to say thank you to these channel members for supporting me and the content that I make here. Their contributions allow me to keep making videos. If you want to support these videos and get some great perks for doing so, like access to our members only Discord, exclusive Bob emojis and much more, then click the join button down below the video or the link in the description.